Hey, can y'all hear me right? It's your boy, King ECG. Welcome to a quick takes segment. Per se, it's going to be a little longer than I'd like it to be, but it's still going to keep it quick takes. We're going to talk about Cam Newton and his comments where he was talking about certain players being game managers and the reaction to what he got to that and his answer to it. And then I'm going to break down my opinion a little bit while we're doing this. So, without further ado, welcome to Quick Takes. Now, I got the video right here. I might stop it periodically just to break down a few things with my opinion, but let's get to it.
Yo, what's good? What's poppin'? Hey, over the last 24 hours, there's been a lot of people who have had a lot to say about the comments that I made on my sports show, 4th and 1.
So, yet again, I know I stopped it early. For y'all who don't know, he called don't mind me. Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, game managers. He also did bring up that Jared Goff was a game manager as well, and talked about them being his dark horse pick. Saying that if he can manage the game well, he's an elite or close to an elite game manager with a good team. That they have a chance to make it to the Super Bowl, as well as breaking down his Super Bowl appearance and stating that the better team was Denver, but he had a good team as well. It wasn't just him. So, he got a lot of vitriol and stuff like that. I'm going to try to find the Ryan Clark response to Kimberly Martin, because that is something you're definitely going to have to hear too, and I'll break down that as well.
Some true, some not so true, some subjective. All of it is still opinionated at the end of the day.
Very true.
I think the thing that I have a problem with is address the point that I made, not me. And I think oftentimes that happens in regards of athletes trying to make their point. It's easy for somebody to say,
move past the outfit for a second. So he's talking about all these NFL game managers. He sounds like the people literally tweeting at me from their basement, like, get back in the kitchen. Like, it's like you were at home.
When he does this podcast or whatever it was. This is just wacky.
Hold on, I gotta make this clear, okay? Cameron said it, I'll say it too. I'm never gonna poo-poo fully on Skip Bayless, because he's part of the reason why we have these sports shows, why I'm even doing a sports podcast, why I have my co-host Da Vinci, my fam Ride or Die, and other people that might pop on the show from time to time. These guys created this alley for us, right? And me as a fan, where I've played the sport, I haven't played it at no professional level, so I'm not gonna act like I know everything. But I think I understand the game enough as a person and as a fan that I can give you my honest opinion. And sometimes I'm right and sometimes I'm wrong, and sometimes I get disrespectful. It's not to add any shock value like this guy, but anyways, sorry, babbling.
Stuff, like this. Well, Cam, you know more football than that, right?
It's called Funky Friday. That's his podcast. Because that's absurd. When he said Dak's name, he telling jokes. First of all.
But the first point that I want to make here is this. Identifying the difference between a game manager and a game changer. Game manager is not a negative connotation. Ken, what do you mean by game manager? My definition of that managing player is a player who has the ability to make the right play at the right time, protecting the football at all costs. There's times in my career where I figured this out. Sometimes, Cam, you don't have to take over a game. Allow other players to do that. If we're getting personal here, there was times in my career where I did it, and there's times in my career where I didn't do it. When I think about ultimate elite game managers, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, game changer and game manager is not something where I'm saying this person is not physically capable of making some great plays. I'm not saying that. Or I am not saying that they're not good players. There's really only 3 to potentially 5 game changers in the NFL right now. Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. Chris Canty, I was listening to what he was having to say, and he used this as an analogy. A game changer is a truck. A game manager is a trailer. A truck pulls a team together and pulls and is the reason why this team is having success.
Now, hence why I'm saying what I'm saying to you now, which is he broke down, if you guys actually watch the full, like, a lot of times with these sports shows and just shows in general, they like to take the juicy part and leave out the rest of the context and detail, like me and Da Vinci love to always say, okay? They leave that out. So I need y'all to go back to his YouTube channel, or if he's on Spotify, and listen between 38 and 47 and tell me if he doesn't really explain what he was saying. And some of these guys, because it's the Dallas Cowboys, because it's Dak Prescott, oh my God, let's not talk ill about him, you know, let's try to, and you know what, let me take that back. It's not that they don't want to talk ill about him, because they do. All these sports shows do. And then when he does good, it's just like any other sport, any other person in life, you know what I mean? When you're doing good, when you're doing bad, some people try to help you up and others kick you. And in the media space of sports, a lot of times, and I'm guilty of it too, we kick people. So, you know.
A game manager is merely a trailer that's attached to something to make it go. When I see a guy like Brock Purdy, yes, did he make hell of a throws? Yes. Is he making elite decisions? Yes, but he's putting it in guys like Deebo Samuels and Christian McCaffrey. Like, that's the point. When you think about those teams, first thing I think about with the Cowboys is the defense. Is Dak Prescott playing lights out ball right now? Hell yeah. But the first thing I think about is the lights out defense. When I think about the Miami Dolphins, it's Tyreek Hill. It's not Tua. That's not to say Tua's not having a great season. When I think about the 49ers, it's not Brock Purdy. This is Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuels, that unbelievable defensive.
To all the Bills fans out here, I'll give you another one. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. Come on now. Come on now. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Let's just be all the way 100 with it, right? I haven't been able to catch all the games, so I'm not going to act like I've seen all the downfalls. I've had to see some highlights here and there due to my work. And you know what I mean? It's not just this year. Years prior, when I had more time to like really watch these games, it's only been like a year since I've been really able to like keep up with every single game and sit down and watch them all, you know, from kickoff to the end. But that's another example of somebody having a game changer for them. Not saying Josh Allen isn't a game changer, but you know, it is what it is, bro. Like, people need to just relax sometimes and listen to the message and not attack the messenger.
Line. Kyle Shanahan, who's calling his ass off with just putting the schematics in place. These are guys I fuck with. These are people who I respect. Being a game manager is not something that it's a backhanded compliment. A game changer is this. As an organization going into the offseason, our main pick or our main emphasis on trying to decide a quarterback is, oh man, we got to go find us another A-Rod. The next Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, or Lamar Jackson. And this may make a lot of people feel a certain type of way, but it's the truth. I don't see people going into the draft as executives of franchises. They don't say, I'm going into the draft to find another Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, Tua Tagovailoa. Remove you from that source, and does that team still be successful? Most of those players that I named, those teams will still be successful in some way, shape, form. I'm not bashing anybody, but sports media outlets have been doing that for years.
Oh.
Why do you say that, Cam? I'm looking at a guy by the name of Burt Mangus, head guy over at ESPN, Norby Williamson. These people have been at ESPN for 29 years, 38 years, speaking on topics of sports that is dominated by, obviously, athletes. Now let's go into Fox. Undisputed. That's ran by a guy by the name of Eric Shanks and also Charlie Dixon. 29 years, by the way, that he's been there, and Eric, and 8 years with Fox as well, Charlie Dixon. They've been able to identify this merit that when I do it, it's a problem. But when the major networks do it, oh, that's just how it goes. So when I sit up here and I make a bold statement or...
And see, here's the thing too, I think people need to understand, because me, myself, I'm even, yet again, done it myself is sometimes I don't listen to the message and I try to kill the messenger. You know what I mean? We all do it, you know? In this world, we need to learn grace. Grace is like the biggest thing you can have. And it's just getting all the facts, making sure that your opinion is valid to you, but also respectful to others. You know what I'm saying? Because we're all human beings, and you know he's looking at it from a person who was actually on the gridiron. How am I gonna really question as somebody who never played in the NFL when he says somebody's a game manager? And yet again, if you listen to that clip or that whole podcast, like I said, from like I'll say 37 to like 49, he breaks it down a little bit in there. And yet again, these sports shows, a lot of them, especially the big networks, they condense that and just grab the juicy part and leave the context out. I'm telling you.
Speak on something which I actually lived.
Especially Malika Andrews.
It's like discredited. No, he don't know. He's just mad. No.
Shock value.
No.
Nick wrong.
I'm not going for that. And I'm not going to keep going for that. But you got major networks still talking about a player who hasn't played in roughly 2.5, 3 years. I mean, who's doing that? And you will want the narrative to be, oh, Cam bitter. Yeah. Oh, Cam mad. Or Cam hating on Dak. Or Cam hating on Brock. Or Cam just mad that he not in the... Let's stop that, Lewis, Kimberly, Colin. Right? Yeah. Let's stop that. See that. And most of the people who had their 2 cents to say something about Cam and his outfit and his hats and his ego and his pride are merely just guys or gals and can be and probably will be replaced. Harsh, but it's the truth. People who I've had the utmost respect for that are no longer with major networks, the Sage Steels, the Kerry Champions, the Josina Andersons, the Jalen Roses, the Michael Smiths, the Jamil Hills, the Chris Carters, right? Because respectfully, before Shannon Sharp, there was Chris Carter. You take Stuart Scott off of ESPN, God rest his soul. It's a different show. You take Shannon Sharp, Eric, off of Undisputed, it's a different show. These guys are game changers. The reality of it all is I respect all commentators who has an opinion about a game that they've never played. But my issue comes when I start seeing commentators speak about a person who actually played the game and has his opinion to be had. That's my issue. Here I am, no different than anybody else, that the overarching theme is we all want our opinions to matter or want our opinions to be heard. And that's no different than what I've been able to do with my independently owned IP, 4th and 1, Funky Friday, I Am Iconic Live Tour. This has been the content that has been pushed in media. Let's talk about the LeBron, the Cams, the Odell, the Roger Federers, the Serena Williams, the Michael Jordans, the Kobes, the this, that.
Yet again, us here, we are a sports podcast. And we do produce sports content. We talk about football, basketball, MMA, boxing. You know what I mean? Like, we have our opinions, and yet again, I'll be one to say, sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I might be a little harsh. But it's all out of my personality. I don't mean nothing against any of these people I might call a bum or whatever. I don't know them. Like, at the end of the day, they're worth millions. I'm worth $6. You get me?
And they don't have nothing to justify that outside of, oh, I have a journalism degree. And I'm not saying that that's an issue. But when a person who actually lived it, prepared for it, played it, did it at a high level, now that's discredited by poking fun at the person himself. Almost to say like, shut the fuck up. You don't know what the hell you talking about. I'm like, hell, I played 11 years in the NFL. A league MVP, Heisman Trophy winner, 5-star athlete coming out of high school. If anybody can talk about this matter, whether right or wrong, it's still subjective and it's still heavily opinionated. Who can? I mean, let's not be no fools here. We're getting information from people who've never played this game. But at the same time, when I sit up here and say, you know what? Let me say something about the state of football right now, in my opinion. My intentions was never to suppress the talent of Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, or Tua Tagovailoa. But the facts are what the facts are. Whether I play another snap in the NFL ever again, trust me, I will be straight. The work has already been done. The proof has been in the pudding. The truth of the matter is this. As I start taking this media space very serious, I can do what you've been able to do. and that's give your opinions about different sports topics. The reality is you couldn't do what I do, or in this case, what I did. But when I say stuff like that, oh, that's Cam's ego. I'm in a time where I feel more liberated than I've ever have because I have the freedom and I am independent. They can't say, oh man, my offensive line sucks. Oh man, I don't have the receiving core. Oh man, I don't get the same push that these particular people do, because they have to protect something. Other sources, and I've done that for far too long. Be it sponsorships, protecting organizations, or flat out protecting coaches and players. Now I can really live in my truth, and I'm still making money. I'll tell you, come to Fellowship. Come buy one of these goofy ass hats that you keep talking about. Come watch or subscribe to one of my YouTube channels. Come be a part of, an experience of a lifetime. December 19th, I Am Iconic Live Tour. These are things that Cam Newton is really doing right now without the game of football. And I can honestly tell you this, the game of football has been great to me. And whether I play another down or not, I'm still gonna be straight. But I can honestly say, I used the game of football. The game of football didn't use me. One finger, one pinky, one thumb.
So you see now, Cam, put it all out there. I'm gonna try to find that Ryan Clark one, because he destroys Kimberly. Like he pretty much says the same thing I'm saying, the same thing Cam's saying, in the regards of why are you attacking the person and not the opinion. You know what I mean? We're all different. Not everybody can be pretty. Not everybody can be stylish. And some cup of teas are for other people. But at the end of the day, Cam Newton was very truthful about what he said. These guys are game managers. They have game changers, or they have the adequate pieces on their team for them to be successful. And sometimes they mismanage the game. There's also game changers, right? Josh Allen, great game changer, but sometimes he's hot, sometimes he's cold. Cam himself will even admit, he didn't always play for team all the time. Sometimes he played for himself, because he was a game changer, not a game manager. He became a game manager later in his career and wasn't successful at it, but that's just because that wasn't in his aura, you know what I mean? Like, you look at Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders is a game changer. He's not a game manager. How do you play for San Francisco, win a Super Bowl, go over to Dallas and win them a Super Bowl, and you don't realize he was like the main factor in both of those? Yes, I know those are a duh, what are you thinking moment, but at the end of the day, that's what Cam's talking about, When he goes, they're not looking for a Dak Prescott or a Brock Purdy, or, you know what I mean, these other players that he mentioned. It's the truth. We all do it. We all know who the top of the top is. I'd be cheering for Herbert to do something crazy. And between him and that team, and I'm not a Chargers fan. I just like Justin Herbert. Like, I think he's a good quarterback that, if he has the right coach and the right system, can be great. I mean, look at Matthew Stafford, right? Matthew Stafford was, pretty much thrown in the trash, give it to the Rams. All of a sudden, they go on that miracle run. Boom, Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Tom Brady going from, the Patriots winning 6 rings to going over to Tampa and winning them their second one of all time. Like, there's all these historical facts we could look at to understand what he's saying. But instead of people like doing that research, or not, you don't even have to do that research. If you pay attention to sports media, sports, you know these things. They're facts. Like, any Joe Blow with half a brain that pays attention to sports, particularly whatever sport you're talking about, will be able to tell you these things. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, they don't really care for the sport. They just kind of casually watch it. I love football. I love basketball. I love boxing. I love MMA. Now, do I watch MMA every time it comes on? No, not anymore. I kind of fell off of that, and basketball and football have been my personal things I love to talk about the most, and a little bit of boxing, because I played those. Now, I never boxed. I did a small little training stint. Trust me. Respect to all the boxers out there, B. Trust me, I don't want no smoke, bro. All right? But anyways, yeah, this is just another example of, the narrative of sports athletes not being able to speak eloquently or express their opinion in a tasteful manner. Hey, listen, man, shouts out to everybody doing their pods, Cam and Mace, I love that. Gilly the Kid, Wallow, love that, you know what I mean? We've been doing this joint for 3 years, man. We trying to find the best way to come up and give you guys the content that you love and like. But let me know in the comments down below really what y'all think. And before I get out of here, I'm gonna slide that Ryan Clark clip in, and we won't call it a day. But anyways, it's your boy King ECG. Easy. Until next time, another episode of Balance of Opinion Sports. Done.
From analysts and from people that really people really went at Cam's head. Like even from like my network that I work on to the Warren Sapps of the world, people really attacking Cam and saying, well, this is what you were in your last 3 years and all those things. Why do you think people went at who Cam was as a player instead of just speaking to his opinion and being able to say, no, I think Brock Purdy is this. I think Tua Tagovailoa is this. I think Dak Prescott is this. When I look at what Cam Newton said and the reaction to it, I think this way, first of all. Everyone is talking about where Cam is now and speaking from the fact that he's not on a team and that he may want to be on a team. Guess what? All of us that give our opinion, right, either can't play anymore, nobody wants us to play anymore, right. And in some of these people cases, you never played because you couldn't play. So to speak about where Cam is making the comment from now is wrong, right? And to treat Cam as what I heard from somebody, to treat Cam as someone tweeting from their mother's basement is also wrong. Because what Cam Newton's perspective is different. Cam Newton's perspective is over 700 first place Heisman votes because I had 48 touchdowns in the SEC. I led the SEC in rushing with 1,400 plus yards. I threw for over 2,600 yards. It's being Rookie of the Year with 4,000 yards passing, which was a rookie record.
14 touchdowns.
Right? 14 rushing touchdowns, right? Which was the most ever. It's in 2015 accounting for 45 touchdowns, 10 of those rushing. And doing it his rookie year with Steve Smith at age 32 as his #1 receiver, an old Jeremy Shockey, a young Greg Olsen, a leading rusher who only had 800 yards. Doing it in 2015 with Devin Funchess and Glenn, right? And so when he's looking at these quarterbacks, you know what he could say? Of the 3 I named, only one of them won Rookie of the Year, and that's Dak Prescott. Of the 3 I named, only one of them have thrown for over 4,000 yards, which I did as a rookie, right? Of the 3 I named, none of them have ever won an MVP, right? And so when Cam Newton is looking at that, he's looking at it from that perspective. And in looking at it from that perspective, I don't agree with his opinion about Dak Prescott, but I do agree with his opinion about the other 2 in some ways. But my point is this, though. Why do we as analysts get to talk about that man like he wasn't one of the best we ever seen do it at one time? Because when I make a comment, I don't expect people to respond to my comment with, oh, you were an undrafted free agent safety. When other people on TV make a comment, you don't expect them to respond with, oh, you played basketball at an HBCU and you were just a reporter. Or you are a woman who just reports from the sideline. Or you are a quarterback that was a backup his entire career, right? Those personal attacks on Cam in his lows forget his highs. And as everybody is entitled to an opinion, I don't know if it's his platform, I don't know if it's his clothes, I don't know if it's his bravado, I don't know if it's his paint job. But Cam Newton saying that people are game managers, when you say it and hear it all the time on TV, that a guy like Kirk Cousins, for his entire career, everyone has called him a game manager and he's one of the richest quarterbacks that's playing football right now, it's wrong. And so when you speak on Cam and his opinion, talk about his opinion, because all of these people who are spewing this vitriol at who Cam Newton is today were never what Cam Newton was at his height. And that is the perspective and that is the perch in which he's making his assessment on, which is okay to make because all these people who now get paid to do it never did it like him and aren't doing it anymore. So it shouldn't matter where he's making the comment from.